The 2025 social media trend report is hot off the press and the landscape is changing fast. So are you ready to keep up? From the demand for authenticity to the growing power of user-generated content, these shifts are redefining trust and engagement in the social media landscape. Social platforms are now major search engines, making SEO critical for visibility. Not to mention, AI is revolutionizing content creation and helping brands scale like never before. Understanding and leveraging these trends is critical for building meaningful relationships, driving sales, and staying competitive in a rapidly changing digital landscape. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to leverage these trends to boost your brand and stay ahead of the competition. Let's dive into the 2025 Social Media Trend Report. Trend number 1, authenticity is non-negotiable in 2025. In a world of polished filters and perfect posts, why are people all of a sudden craving raw and real? A study found that 90% of consumers value authenticity when choosing which brands to engage with and purchase from. While I do think that the isolation from 2020 has people wanting to experience more in-person and real connections, I also think that now, as Gen Z has grown up literally online in a world of perfect feeds and curated aesthetics and so disconnected from the real world around them, I think that also has a lot to do with why we're seeing a big push for genuine connections and relationship buildings, not just offline, but now online too. So how can you be more authentic in 2025 on social media? Actually respond to people's comments on your posts, and even when you see people posting about your brand or talking about your brand, show up in their comment section too. And don't just comment something really silly or generic, make it personal to your brand. Use the language and the tone that your target audience would use. Be consistent, and this doesn't just mean posting on social media every day to populate your feed. By consistency, I mean that it's so important to align your actions with your brand values. Make sure that you're actually choosing authentic partnerships. When you're thinking about picking people to partner with your brand, whether that's an influencer, a celebrity, or maybe just a regular everyday fan, make sure that you're partnering with people who genuinely love your brand and use your products or use your services. Authenticity is about being real, consistent, and deeply connected with your audience. And people can tell when you're simply just not. Social media trend number 2 is the power of user-generated content and how to leverage it for your brand. What would you trust more, a heavily edited ad or your friend's recommendation? That's the power of UGC. User-generated content is those videos that you see when you're scrolling through your TikTok, and it's content about brands that are made by real people. This could be someone recommending you a new restaurant that you need to go try in your city.
If you want to step into a restaurant and be completely transported to a new country through the food, then this Toronto Palestinian spot is the place for you.
Or showing you a place that would be great to take yourself for a solo date and kind of selling you on it, right?
Here's 50 for solo dates in Toronto. This is date 4. Hey, I'm Joelle and I'm doing solo dates around the city, and today I just wanted something easy.
And this model works for so many reasons, whether you're paying someone to create this organic user-generated content for your brand, or it's just someone who genuinely loves your brand. UGC feels more authentic than polished branded content. And UGC really helps to build consumer trust. This one study alone shows that consumers are 2.4 times more likely to view user-generated content as more authentic than branded content.
And the evidence seems to back this statement up. Time and time again, we've seen this pattern of user-generated content outperforming the branded social media content in terms of engagement metrics when it comes to likes, comments, shares, and saves, even if the content is posted on the person's own profile and not the brand's. And we've seen this effect amplified when it's an organic piece of user-generated content and not something that they're being paid to post as an ad.
And depending on your business model, brands have taken a different approach to how they incorporate UGC in their social media strategy. Some brands will only post user-generated content, while others take a bit more of a mixed approach, posting some polished ads alongside user-generated content. And I've even seen brands that will only post polished advertisement style posts on their pages, but rely a lot on word of mouth through user-generated content that people post on their own social media pages. And if you're not necessarily a brand where it makes sense to hire people to create your own user-generated content, or you're just not at that stage yet where you have the budget to invest in that, you can be your own UGC. Say you have a budgeting template. You can create content like a budget with me video where you're not necessarily being like, hey, here's my budget with me template and all of the features, go buy it. But you're like, let's budget for this month. This is my budget for the month. This is what I'm doing. And you're showing some footage of you using that template. And you're not necessarily even putting a call out for people to buy it at the end of the video. But if people are genuinely interested in like how you've budgeted using that template, they're gonna comment asking where you got the template from. And that's the perfect opportunity for you to say, I sell it at the link in my bio. I made it. The moral of the story is that in 2025, it's gonna be important to tap into the power of your audience to build trust and drive sales through the power of user-generated content. Trend number 3 is that social SEO sells. Did you know that TikTok is currently Gen Z's favorite search engine? Here's why social SEO will either make or break your brand. The literal New York Times said that TikTok is the new search engine for Gen Z. And the senior vice president who runs Google's knowledge and information organization said, in our studies, something like almost 40% of young people, when they're looking for a place for lunch, they don't go to Google Maps or search. They go to TikTok or Instagram. And as a millennial myself, I can confirm this. On TikTok alone, I have found and worked with a literal posture coach, who's someone who did my workouts to help me improve my posture. I found a eating disorder informed registered dietitian. I found countless things to do in Toronto in terms of places to visit and restaurants to eat at. You can literally optimize any post for search. When you're adding in closed caption subtitles to your post, when you're typing text on the screen in the editor that is in the app that you are posting it on, the algorithm can read those words, and depending on the keywords that you say or the keywords that you put on your screen, not just in your caption, not just in the hashtags that you use, but even through the literal closed captions that you put, the algorithm can analyze what you are saying, what you are writing about, and determine whether or not to show your video or your post as a result to someone in the search. And people do use social media platforms like Pinterest, Instagram, and TikTok as search engines. Social platforms are becoming the new search engines. In fact, they are the new search engines. So with this information in mind, you're gonna wanna optimize accordingly. Social media trend number 4 is that AI is your new marketing sidekick. But is it friend or foe? There's been a lot of buzz, both positive and really a lot of negative, over AI and what that means for the future for so many of us. And I can't speak for all industries, but on the social media marketing side specifically, a lot of us have adapted to using AI to help streamline our content creation workflow. And while I don't recommend relying heavily on AI for creative tasks like writing captions and blog posts, it can be really helpful for creating an outline. I have personally found that AI has been so helpful at narrowing down and really defining target audiences, not just for my brand, but also for my social media clients' brands as well. You've probably seen some of your favorite creators already sharing their roundups of essential prompts that they like to use for these kinds of activities, or including bonus prompts in their courses. But if you know how to prompt really well, the better your result will be. I've also found ChatGPT super helpful when it comes to condensing my video outlines and prioritizing the information that is going to be the most impactful and keep the viewer's attention for the longest. In the marketing community alone, there's even been a lot of buzz surrounding ChatGPT and how it might even replace search engines, making paid Google ads kind of obsolete. And while it's too early to say whether or not AI will replace traditional search engines completely, there's definitely evidence that shows that AI is starting to work towards that. When I was working on the outline for this video, I literally got a notification at the bottom of my ChatGPT prompt that prompted me to download their new Chrome extension so that I can use ChatGPT as my primary search engine. So this is definitely a sign that traditional forms of search are slowly starting to fade out, or even just that there's going to be more competition in that space, and in a way that we've never seen it before. And this will very likely change the way that marketers, both social media marketers and traditional marketers, are gonna need to approach SEO in 2025. Social media trend number 5 is that private communities are in demand. Oversaturated public feeds that are often filled with haters and trolls have been driving more and more of a demand for a space for communities to connect outside of all of the noise. And that's where the birth of private communities has really exploded, especially in 2024 and continuing into 2025. You may have begun to notice in the last couple of years that a lot of your favorite creators have adopted an additional stream of income in the form of private communities that operate on a membership basis. And usually most of them will have a general free tier on a place like Patreon or even School. Heartbeat is another popular one. But ultimately, this is a private community where you can go to get extra bonus content, vote on community polls, and participate in private exclusive live streams and other things like that. And these private communities work for a lot of really good reasons. It's a way to be able to support your favorite creators beyond just consuming their free content online, but it's also a place to connect with other people who like the exact same thing as you, because the nature of these private communities is that they're meant to be social. And it's really a great way to have this filtered safe space, because people who hate someone are really not going to put in the extra work to go pay to do that. If you think about private communities in terms of where they fall on the spectrum of leads, I would consider private communities to be a place where your hottest leads are, meaning these are the people that are most primed and ready to buy from you. They're just a really great way to be able to connect with your audience on a deeper level and create a really close bond and community around the work that you're doing. So if you've been sleeping on private communities, 2025 is the perfect time to give them a go. In conclusion, authenticity, UGC, social SEO, AI, and private communities are really shaping the social media landscape in 2025. And with the social media landscape changing so rapidly in 2024 and now even leading into 2025, it's becoming more important than ever to be able to adapt and keep up with these new changes. Because the social media industry as a whole is in a really pivotal and historical time period currently, as a lot of things are. We are witnessing history right now, like everywhere. And the social media industry is no exception to that. Let me know in the comments below which trend you are most interested about or even surprised by. And if there's any one of these trends or examples that you want me to cover in more detail, just leave a comment below and I honestly would be more than happy to do it. Social media deep dives is like my special interest, and I could literally talk about it forever. Don't forget to subscribe for more social media marketing content, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!